best in town.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Podcast The Sequel, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the continued. My name is Joseph.
My name's Ryan.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Anira.
And with it being March Madness, we decided for this week we're going to talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy. But before we get into that, we have to start with Space Jam. With his airness, MichaelJordan, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all the great Looney Tunes characters, had a budget of $80 million, made $250.2 million in the box office. Cinema score of an A-. Now I want you guys to remember that. Remember, he had an A- cinema score. Just remember that.
No, don't
just
tell me
remember
that.
A-.
I'm shocked that it got an A-.
Really?
I'm
Got
not.
an A plus.
I should have gotten an A plus.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
it deserved an A plus.
shocked.
I'm at an A-.
I'm at
Cinema.
an A plus.
No.
Plus, I'm scared.
A
Get outta
plus
here.
plus plus plus.
No, okay, but just remember that. Just file it away, and we'll get to it when we get into it. It's not
Holy
that insane,
crap.
but we'll cross that bridge when we have to cross
An
it.
A-.
An A- cinema score.
Should have been an A plus.
I'm gonna give it like a B-.
How dare you?
Like, no.
Did you not grow up watching Space Jam?
Stop.
No.
In terms of like nostalgia, A+ all the way.
Yes.
Absolutely. But like in terms of like story, acting, everything.
I feel
Get
like
real.
it's gotten
Get
better because of
real.
how nostalgic it is.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
aged because of so it's like our childhood. It's one of the better, in my opinion, like basketball movies.
I mean,
I've always
name
enjoyed
5
it.
basketball movies.
Like Mike, Air Bud.
Love and basketball.
That is not a child's movie. That's a
You've never
great
seen
movie.
it.
Oh, and it's such a good movie, but it is not a
I
child's
will say
movie.
though.
Is that the one with Queen Latifah?
No.
No.
That's a basketball
But that's a
movie.
basketball movie with Common, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that. Just Right? Oh,
I don't
that's
know.
such a good
I don't
movie.
remember the name.
High School
Me neither.
Musical.
Oh, that's such a good
High School
movie.
Musical 2. High School Musical 3.
Don't they abandon
High
that?
School
Right,
Musical
it's
2 is
so
a golf
good.
movie. Everyone
Yeah.
knows
Sorry,
that.
sorry, forgot.
Oh, I love Just Right.
Yeah.
And Common's not actually, he's not bad. Not bad in that movie.
Not bad looking.
I haven't watched it in a
Not
hot
bad.
minute.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad looking
Who's
either.
he's engaged to Jennifer Hudson?
Is it?
I'd like to say Tiffany Haddish, maybe.
Tiffany Haddish.
Whoa,
I
good
thought it
for
was
him.
Jennifer Hudson.
Tiffany
My only fun fact about Common is that he was supposed to be the Green Lantern at one point.
Get the fuck out of
Oh
here.
yeah,
really?
there's pictures of him
What?
as Green Lantern.
Really? He
It
did-
was
oh,
it
shit.
was going to be George Miller's Justice League. Army Hammer.
George Miller was gonna do.
Army Hammer was going to be Batman.
Oh.
Let's
He
go.
was going to be Green Lantern. I forgot who
But
was
he
gonna
was
be
dating Tiffany Haddish.
That's fine.
Flash.
Okay,
It was
I
somebody
approve
that
of
they,
that.
like, I forget his name from the OC. I forget.
Who? Go.
Oh, Ryan,
Maybe
the guy
What's
who
the
plays
no. I don't remember.
on Gotham.
Can we talk about this?
No, not him. Maybe he's not the
Oh,
OC.
Adam Brody?
Who's the kid? Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Adam Brody
And
was going to
Shazam.
be.
I was like, that was my moment to shine. I love the
I
OC.
already hit you with it.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the Flash.
How
Common was supposed to be
dare
Green
you.
Lantern. Army Hammer was going to be Batman. But that movie never
I have
happened.
one thing about when you mentioned about Space Jam being the greatest basketball movie. It is the most successful basketball movie till this day.
Suck it, Air Bud.
But yeah, no, suck it, Airbud. Space
I
Jam is
watched
the
this
greatest.
movie so
upsetting.
many times as a kid. Because my first love is basketball. So it's true.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's true. That's the first, like, anything that I fell in love with was basketball. Like, the first moment watching basketball, I could still tell you to this day, I was watching it on KCAL9, Lakers Jazz, and Shaquille O'Neal to me was like a superhero. Then I watched Space Jam.
Was
I
he
like,
Superman to you?
At the time as a kid, yeah, he was huge. He was dunking on everybody. It was insane.
That's all he could do.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a big man.
Yeah, and it's the way he would just move people. It's just like,
Hands.
oh my god, dude. So then I watched Space
What
Jam.
did I say about big
Like,
hands, big feet? I'm so sorry.
no,
They got big shoes and they got big gloves.
Please continue with that.
Got that big penis.
I just answered. I said they got big shoes and they got big gloves. This is a family-friendly channel, guys.
We got to cut out the penis stuff.
I feel like we've said worse.
We probably said. I mean, we just did 50 Shades of Grey.
I know. We're just
Big hands-
continuing the theme of February.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, romance, the love of basketball, the love of the game.
You guys need to see Love and Basketball.
It's a good movie.
Never seen it.
Oh,
a really
you need to
good
see
movie.
it. It's good.
I'll vouch for that film. That film is.
That film's great.
Yeah.
I would vouch for. See, A+ right there. Acting, the love of the game, sexual intercourse. I don't know.
I thought this was a family-friendly
Now we gotta cut all
podcast.
this out.
I know that's why I use the term sexual intercourse.
I don't think you can say that.
Yeah. That's even.
Why can't I say
That's
that?
even-
I mean, if we really want to get down to it, I don't think YouTube will allow you to say anything.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
'Cause
I'm
then
just
we
saying,
gotta
like, what
use
are they?
code
What
words
are
at
they
this time.
teaching?
Yeah,
what
which
are they
is
teaching
dumb.
the kids?
But also, we're a podcast.
Yeah.
It depends on the route we want to take. I don't know if we're cutting any of this out or not. This is inside baseball, but
It's
Yeah.
all about baseball.
I say keep it.
Yeah, at this point, you don't have to worry about that till like monetization and stuff like that. But that's it's down the line. Space Jam, though. What are our thoughts? I could talk about how much I love this film. I still have a good time with it. I still enjoy watching it. I'm still nostalgic about it. I was a big Looney Tunes fan for some reason as a kid, to the point where I would always force my parents to take me to the Warner Brothers store at Caesar's Palace.
I loved the Warner Brothers
yeah.
store, and you could go in that little like tunnel underneath the what is it, the TV,
Mhm.
the big screen TV, and they would show
No idea.
little.
Oh, it was
No?
sick. It was.
It was
It
the
was
Warner
so
Brothers
awesome.
store
Never been.
and the Disney store for me.
Mhm.
Those are the two that I like had to go, because Disney had that big mountain of like stuffed animals.
Yeah.
that you literally just wanted to like
Just
trampoline
jump into it. Yeah.
Yeah, Warner Brothers had like a little tube underneath a big screen TV, and inside the tube there were mini TVs, and you could watch Looney Tune cartoons while your parents shopped around.
It
I'm
was
dead
awesome.
serious.
I didn't get to
Joseph.
experience
No, I'm
I was like, Joseph.
You're explaining it perfectly, because I used to fucking love
Oh,
that
it was
store.
so
It
great.
was one of the best parts of going to Vegas for me. It was that and the Disney one, because the Disney one at one point they had like a Star Wars level, and they had like a life-size Vader, and like a
Oh,
it
that's
was
cool.
sick, dude.
Oh, I
It
didn't know
was
that.
Next level. Like
What happened to
Caesar's
our
staff.
childhood? We didn't get to experience any of this.
Yeah, you're
Well-
older than us.
well, my Vegas childhood
What about
was
me?
a lot of like casinos and
you're younger.
You weren't here.
You don't know. You
and
weren't there.
pulling levers and being like, no one's gonna know.
Ryan's nostalgia is like he's just him randomly turning to me on like a Friday night, just being like, "Do you remember Discovery Zone?"
It's like once a month. I'll say that.
I tried to explain it to, there's a busser at my work, and he's like 19, 20, and I tried to explain it to him because I said something about not having internet growing up, and he's like, how do you not have internet? And I was like, how do you not have like big jungle gyms? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I tried to explain. DZ.
Yeah, we had this conversation
Well,
with
yeah.
someone the other day, and I was like, I remember when we got the internet, and then I felt really old, and I was like, I feel like, oh,
I'm not kidding. I didn't get the internet till I was 18.
What?
Yes. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah.
I think I got
Sorry.
it.
I've had the
Yeah,
internet
I
my
missed
whole
out on a
life.
lot. I didn't have a MySpace. That's.
You never had a MySpace?
I didn't have internet. I didn't. Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
I still
You're-
have one.
I still have.
I,
Still there.
I deleted mine, but I did have one.
I left it. I thought it was funny.
I still have mine. I have that. I have my Tumblr still. I need to log in and see what the fuck I was up at doing
What's
at like
Tumblr?
14 years
It
old.
was like a picture thing.
Mm.
So it's like Instagram before Instagram.
It was
Yeah,
Pinterest
but it was
before
just solely
Pinterest.
just like pictures.
A lot of
Oh.
blogs too, right?
Yeah.
People would,
Yeah,
like,
it was a
blog
lot
on
of
there.
like raw XD stuff.
Mm.
It was, yeah, it was a lot of
the
that.
hair.
It was.
Facts.
That's so unfortunate. Am I older for not knowing what Tumblr is?
No.
Because I don't even know what like, which one's like Bumble or whatever. What
That's
is-
a dating app.
That's a
I know, but like I don't know what any of those are. Like what
I
is
just-
Bumble versus what's the other one?
Bumble, the thing that made Bumble popular is so far out of random, but like Bumble is just the woman has to make the first move.
Oh, is that what it is? That
Yeah.
that's like
It's a woman made one. The person who made Bumble was one of the original co-founders of Tinder, and then they basically kicked her
Tinder.
out.
That's the one I was
So
thinking.
she basically created Bumble where if you match, let's say you and Ryan match, Ryan can't talk to you unless you talk to him first.
I know. Was it Coffee Meets Bagel? My friend met her
You
husband.
always
on
say
that.
that. I've never heard of that.
I've-
until I
I've
met
never
you.
had it. I've never used it. I pride myself on not doing the dating sites just because I like to meet people natural. What's up?
Air high five from across the
But
way.
I don't know. It's not. Yeah, it just wasn't in my wheelhouse. So when my friend was like, "What's the fish one?"
Plenty of fish.
That's the one.
I feel like that one's for more like older people though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Christian mingle, farmers only. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, farmers only. I could get behind. No, I'm just kidding.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Yeah.
Members only. I don't
Yeah.
know.
To me, Space Jam holds a special place in my heart. I grew up watching Space Jam. I had a fucking blast watching this movie as an adult. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and I still saw myself just like so interested in watching the movie. I was just like, the same reaction I had to seeing Kendrick and SZA perform at the Super Bowl. That was my reaction too.
Still on it.
Yes, I am. Same reaction to watching Space Jam. It's such a nostalgic movie to me. I just had a great time. It's not the perfect movie. I will give you that. It plot points and whatever. Besides that, still a great movie. I honestly had just a blast watching it. I actually did not grow up watching the Looney Tunes. I was more into Tom and Jerry.
I feel like that's like Looney Tunes adjacent, though.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
would
also
agree.
mainly where I grew up, and I had Tom and Jerry. Everything else was in a different language, and I just couldn't do it.
What are you talking about? Are you white?
Oh, damn.
Unfortunately.
Sorry, shots fired. Not against us.
But like I watched it when I would like come to the States for like the summers and stuff. And I was always a big fan of Looney Tunes. I just didn't necessarily grow up watching it. I was more into like Tom and Jerry and Barbie movies and other things. But I had a great time watching the movie. I have honestly almost zero complaints about this movie. For once, I have almost zero complaints.
I'm actually with Joseph on this one in terms of I did grow up with Looney Tunes. My baby blanket is Looney Tunes. Like I have, like my mom has it saved, packaged, ready to go. I loved Bugs Bunny. Like I think that there's a photo of like me in my kid room where it's like my mom hand painted like Looney Tunes characters on my wall because my mom can paint. She's an artist. But I loved, Bugs Bunny. I loved like even Baby Looney Tunes when that came out. I was super
it. I
in.
loved it.
Yeah,
Baby
I was
Looney
like,
Tunes
I
is
was
shit.
super into that. I was always into Warner Brothers. I was personally never really into basketball. Like I played basketball when I was younger. Like I played on a team, but it was never like I wasn't good. Like it's just like it was one of those things I tried, and then just like after a season or whatever, you're done. But I mean, I like Space Jam. It's just when you're looking at it from like a critical view, like you gonna sit there and tell me that like Michael Jordan should be nominated for like an Oscar for this movie? Like, yes, he's not an actor. I know he's not an actor. The other basketball players, I would say that cameo in this are way worse. They like feel like drones to me.
How dare you disrespect Muggsy Bogues?
Is he the short one?
Yeah, he's a short one.
Is
Yeah.
he the short one?
How tall is
Charles
he?
Barkley.
Yeah, Charles Barkley, go fuck off. I can't stand that.
Larry Bird?
Larry Bird has a cameo.
Larry Bird classic.
Well, yeah, name
Riley?
the five guys.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I
Charles
don't know.
Barkley,
I know Charles Barkley.
Riley.
Riley who?
I'd like to say
Don't say Pat, because that's a coach.
it's not Pat Riley.
I know
I
that.
just know
I know
his
who
last
Pat
name
Riley
is
is.
Riley.
No, there is no Riley.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
Hold on.
I don't know any of them.
Hold on.
Of the five Monstars of the talent they took, there is no Riley. I could assure you that.
I assure
I assure you.
Brother Bear is still there.
It's still there.
Brother Bear's still there.
Still standing.
I hope he watches this one day.
Give me a second.
No, don't look it up.
Oh,
Give
I
me
was
a
like, I thought
second.
she would just have.
Does
this.
anybody else know? I'll leave it up
No,
to
I know Charles Barkley, and that's it.
Well, I told you the other one.
Muggsy
Well, Muggsy. We
is
we
one of
spoke
them
about.
like a white name, like a.
Yes.
It's very, yeah.
Patrick Ewing. That's what I
There
was
you
thinking
go.
Yeah,
about. It's like it's
that's-
not
Oh,
Pat
Ewing.
Riley. It's
Okay.
Pat something.
Oh yeah, because I was like, "What's an Ewing?" or whatever.
and I was
What
like,
did
that's
say?
Patrick Ewing right there. I don't stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
It's Patrick Ewing.
I mean, how can you forget the classic Danny DeVito, the greatest basketball star in that movie?
I mean, if we're talking about basketball stars, we got to talk about Bill Murray, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was just on the podcast talking about how like they came up to him like, we want you in this movie. He's like, I'm not gonna do it until Michael asks me, and like he held out until Michael reached out because Michael was just like,
he has my number.
yeah, he knows he can come out anytime.
He
to just
didn't
talk
want to.
to
He
me.
didn't want to ask.
Yeah.
and
I
it
know,
was,
that's-
and they literally like play golf together.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I said, oh yeah, no, and Bill Murray, he loves golf. And she's
Yes.
like, what? And I was like, yeah, I remember they had a show. It was like him and all his brothers had a show on Comedy Central. It was about golf,
That's so weird.
and it was hilarious.
So random. I feel like Michael Jordan is actually having a great time doing this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know like what it was, like if he, like I'm trying to think of like the premise of like, okay, I know he had a deal like where like, because I mean obviously like this whole movie is very much just like marketing, and it's a lot of like product placement and everything like that.
And that's where like it originated from.
I was like,
was-
I'll scoot that aside, but I'm like trying to think of like them coming up to him being like, we have this idea for a movie. There's going to be like aliens and Looney Tunes and like you're playing basketball and then like they're going to suck you through a hole and like a whole bunch of stuff, right? And like the premise is insane. Like the premise is literally out of this world.
Yeah.
And I think you like that. But anyway, like I just imagine like them sitting you down and being like, hey, you're a basketball superstar. We want you to do this movie. What's it going to take? What did it take? I just wonder, like, you know, was it for his kids? Was it because he was contracted? Was it because he was like, dude, this is a freaking bomb ass story?
So Spike Lee had directed a Jordan commercial where he was with a Looney Tune.
Mm-hmm.
This is based off of the Super Bowl commercial,
originally,
right?
Originally Spike Lee was going to write the screenplay, but Warner Brothers denied him to do that. And then Jordan also kind of felt like, all right, I'm coming back into basketball. So people, like, he retired.
Yeah, no, he's
retired.
Coming back, yeah.
I told her, I was like, yeah, you're going to hear a lot of some shit we talked about before on another podcast.
Oh, the conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
Great podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Had a great run. The Jordan thing, he retired for 2 years, quote unquote. And he was making his comeback. And for whatever reason, I felt like he thought that people were just not into his return, especially because he came back wearing 45. He wasn't wearing 23.
Yeah.
And then he lost as his first year back, and people were like, "Oh, it's not the same MJ." And he wanted to like market himself as like, "Look, I'm back as a family man." Mind you, his father had just passed away. He got murdered 2 years prior. Now he's trying to like totally rebrand himself into something else. And I think that added to like, okay, I could kind of tell a story in this movie about like baseball wasn't working. I needed to come back for basketball, not just because of the Looney Tunes, but because of my family as well. This is my dream. This is what I want to do. AKA the suspension was lifted. And then that's why I think he did this film. But also because of, they mentioned like all his sponsors in this film. There's like one scene where like they mentioned Gatorade. Yeah. And every single like thing that he has. So like I feel like he was profiting off of just that as well.
Oh yeah.
It was a big payday. I mean,
he's like, put your hands on, we'll get a Big Mac.
We'll get you Gatorade. Yeah. We'll stop by McDonald's, get you a Big Mac, like or whatever that
fucking
line is.
Newman.
I feel like this is also like a big, like, to me, if this movie, I know that obviously we're gonna get to the sequel, but I feel like this movie wouldn't have done as well as it did had it not come out when it did, which 1996.
The peak of the Jordan era.
Yeah, like peak, like this is peak, like basketball's freaking huge, like Michael Jordan is huge, like Looney Tunes, like I think has always been around. I can't really say that they were huge at one point versus the other. But I mean, like even like for me as someone who didn't grow up being like basketball, I was like, I knew who the Bills were. I knew who Michael Jordan was.
The Bulls?
Bulls. What did I say? Bills.
Bills.
I mean, we know who the Bills are now.
Too soon.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Sorry. But like I knew who this team was. I knew who this man was. So like I feel like going into this, even as like from a girl's perspective, I felt like this was a movie I was like, okay, cool. I can watch this. I can get behind it. And I feel like that's where we also get like Lola Bunny is like to kind of more market towards like girls of like, look, girls can play basketball too, which we've always known because WNBA.
Caitlin Clark. Well, now now it's WNBA.
Yeah.
Because of the Messiah, Caitlin Clark.
Because of her, we got the WNBA.
I mean, she has been the biggest reason.
I feel like she brought it back. It kind of died down.
It died down when Lisa Leslie retired, and then Candace Parker picked it up for a bit, but then her career wasn't that long, and now Caitlin has been killing it in college and now in the WNBA. She's brought eyes to the league, which is what you need. You need a marketable figure, which is why, like you're saying, with Jordan, he was the biggest face in sports. This is peak Bulls. They're in the middle of their second three-peat. Nobody could stop this guy. He's returned to basketball. Like, the ratings were so bad when he retired.
Yeah.
And people don't forget, like, it just came out of nowhere, his retirement. It was just like one day, it's like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go play baseball. And
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
He had no other choice.
Why baseball?
Because he did play baseball as a kid, and he had no other choice, and he still wanted to make money, and baseball was going to roll out the red carpet because it's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And
he had no other choice?
he still had that fire to play sport. He just couldn't play basketball for 2 years.
With the government name.
I don't remember 100% why, or like, well, I kind of remember why, but I wrote it down. But we had mentioned Dennis Rodman at this time when we watched this movie. because I was like, oh yeah, this was like the time where it was like the Bulls and Michael Jordan and like Looney Tunes, and then you were like Dennis Rodman, and I was like, and then it made me think of, so like I grew up, since we were talking about like the internet and basketball and everything like that, there was a website, it was sportsillustratedforkids.com, I think it was like sikids.com or something like that, and they would always have these games where you could play like different sports with like this kid. The kid
played
was,
at the library.
yeah, it was like the kid. Yeah, the kid was Buzz. He was like a short white kid with like blonde hair, and he would always play like against. Mostly, he would play against Shaq. That was what I remember the most. But every once in a while, like Dennis Rodman would come in. It was when he would have his like rainbow hair.
Oh, the
or
green.
whatever.
Yeah,
Rainbow sherbet head.
Yeah, whatever he had.
The worm.
And like, I just got. I know Dennis Rodman's not in this movie, and he has nothing to do with this movie.
Nor should he.
He could have been a monster.
I mean, he's definitely
been a great
well,
He would have been a great monster.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I have served Dennis Rodman, and he is a monster.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, and not so much like he's a mean person. He's just like, this is his world we're living
He's Dennis
in. Kinda,
Rodman.
yeah,
He gave me $5 in elementary school.
dude. He's
Excuse me?
He was playing for
something else.
Long Beach Jam, which is a G League affiliate to the NBA, and he showed up to our elementary school and he gave me $5.
Was it a Space Jam?
So random.
Yeah, it was random. I'm like, I
He's
was so
something
excited.
else,
I got
dude.
$5 and he signed it. And
Do you still have the $5?
oh
Or did
hell
you
no,
spend
I
it?
spent that bitch.
Did you buy candy?
Dennis Rodman.
He's
I
a
think
child. He's like, $5. Do you know how many Snickers I could get with this?
I'm
It's like, I was in Simon Says.
I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin with this movie.
It's a great movie.
Like,
I have a question
so much.
Hit it.
for Ryan. You're the only one who agreed with me that this should be an A+ movie. What
A+.
are your thoughts on this movie?
I love this movie. It reminds. I mean, yes, it's nostalgic, but like what Joseph said at the time, like when you ask somebody like name a basketball player, like
He's always in the top 5.
top
Michael Jordan.
top 5, yeah,
He's the GOAT.
top 3.
Disagree.
DJ
That's a debate for
Bingo.
another one. It's a debate for another day.
We're
You
not.
mean it's a-
We're
you
not.
mean-
We're
you
not.
mean it's a debate for?
We're not doing
Space
that debate.
Jam, New Legacy?
No, we're not doing that.
Yes, it's for New Legacy, but hit me
For
with
New
it.
Legacy.
No. It's just like it was peak sports. Like everyone knows about Michael Jordan, undeniable talent. Like in pop culture in general, just like with the ads, the shoes, people still wear them to this day. Coveted.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that's ingrained in our culture,
I agree.
and I love Looney Tunes. It was a win-win for me.
Can I just hit you with 2 words?
Okay.
Bunny, boobies.
Yeah. Lola Bunny.
Dude, Lola Bunny was hot in the movie. I will get into
That's
my
such a
opinion about.
weird.
Is that your hear me out?
She's on my hear me out cake.
Not even our species.
She's on my hear me out cake. However,
Hear her out.
hear
But
me
that
out.
bunny could bounce.
Hear me out. We'll get into
Ball.
Lola
Okay.
Bunny in the
That means
second
2
one.
things.
I have issues with Lola Bunny in the sequel.
Obviously.
Not that many.
I mean,
Obviously.
that's
I have
a
issues
given.
with her in the sequel. However, for them to introduce Lola Bunny in the movie to kind of, as Marissa said, get the women to watch the movie. I remember having a Lola Bunny toy. I was obsessed with Lola Bunny as a child. Now as an adult looking, I was like, interesting.
I remember watching the movie and be like, Lola Bunny came in, and I was like, who the fuck is this bitch?
Bugs Bunny's girlfriend.
And
she
now
was
in the
fucking-
new-
No, it wasn't,
Hear me
because she
out.
came
She was
in and
hot.
Lola was like, "Don't call me doll," and then
And now,
he was
like
all about it.
in the new Looney Tunes, she's like the obsessed girlfriend to Bugs.
Yes, and
they flipped it completely.
so then where
Yeah.
are we?
Yeah.
I think my only thing for this one, for a movie that came out in like 1996, pretty progressive for women to be like, don't call me doll, where you normally have like in the 90s where like they want to be dolled and like they want to be like
Well, especially because WNBA
treated a
wasn't really
certain-
like.
But then again, like there
I
was no
would
such thing
almost-
as WNBA.
I would
There
disagree.
was, but
I
like
would
it wasn't as
disagree.
popular.
I would disagree with that, because I feel like in the 90s a lot of women were very much like tomboys.
In cartoons.
Yeah, but that transgress into real life. So like a lot of girls are wearing like They're wearing jeans. They're playing like I wasn't. I
She was
played.
still a
I
toddler,
played
but she was
base
hot.
like.
But
I,
in
I played,
96
like
it was-
baseball or softball, I guess for women.
But in '96, it was a
Basketball.
female household name that was playing basketball.
I can't name you one person.
The Sparks.
They
That's a
didn't
team.
win. They didn't become a thing till like '99, and then they won in 2000. So it took another
When
4
did
years.
the
knew they were
WNBA?
So like Lola Bunny was like
We
the
watched
first.
Double Teamed.
But I feel like Lola Bunny was like the first household name of like she's playing basketball, and that's
She's our first instinct of women's basketball.
for the era of that sport. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, like it was.
A bunny, not even a person.
Hold.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. I'm okay. I know.
Okay. My point.
Great episode.
The WNBA officially became there is the WNBA officially formed April 24th, 1996. Space Jam came out that same year, 6 months later.
So they're like, they scrambled and they're like, we got to put a girl in here. How are we going to put a girl in here? There's nobody famous enough to put a girl in here. I know it. Let's put a
However-
Looney Tunes in there. We'll get a girl.
The WNBA was formed in 1996, but the first game did not air until June 1967.
67.
Yes.
What the fuck?
So there was no
What?
WNBA game.
97?
How does that make
97,
sense?
not 67.
97. Sorry.
Oh, I was like,
I don't have my
did we
glasses.
go back in time?
I don't have my glasses on.
Gotta
So
go back
the
in
WNBA
time.
was formed in 1996, but they did not play their first game until
Well, yeah, it takes a
the
year
summer
for
of
a league to start.
1997.
Yeah, no,
so
that's fair.
there was no such thing as WNBA when Space Jam came out.
The
Little Bunny's
silence
hot.
is deafening.
It's just weird.
It is weird. I remember
Why does
when the
she need
Ninja
boobs?
Turtles did that.
Yeah.
They had turtle titties.
Ask why Jessica Rabbit had boobs.
Jessica
Then
Rabbit
again,
was a
she's
person.
human. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, Jessica Rabbit was a person. Yeah, it was like,
But that was a weird.
Do we
I
need to
mean,
watch
No,
that
but
movie?
I 100% agree with you. I think that was good for that. To include her into basketball, that
It was
made
a good way
sense
to
me.
include women.
Yeah.
I
And to,
liked it.
bring
I
them
just
into
was
sports.
just like, who, like all these Looney Tune characters that we know and love. We're like, oh, okay, cool. You got like Daffy Duck. You got Yosemite Sam. You got like, you listed all of them, and you're like, I know in them. And then this like girl comes in, and you're like, who the fuck? Who are you? Where are you coming from?
Is there
like,
another female Looney Tunes character?
The grandma.
Like, besides the grandma, Tweety Bird's a boy. I learned that way into my 20s.
the girl skunk?
it was not a skunk. It was a cat.
Yeah.
Close enough.
No.
I mean, our cat stinks. So, I mean, you know.
But there wasn't like a proper,
I'm
like
not-
a prominent female
Yeah,
character.
I'm not arguing that there shouldn't be a female Looney Tune. I'm arguing that like maybe they should have introduced her maybe in another way.
Well, she was supposed to be the wild card of like,
Mm-hmm.
you got these powerhouses like throw in a wild card.
Yeah. Well, no, and then she in turn was a powerhouse on the court.
Yeah, because
I'm not
there's
mad
her
about
introduction
it.
was
I know.
all Michael being like, none of you guys know how to play basketball. Like, who do
And
I?
then she's like, I do.
Yeah.
And then she
Call
did.
me doll. I think she was great in addition to the movie.
No,
I'm a Lola
I'm
Bunny
down
fan.
with. I'm down with it. I just don't know why she needed.
She's the number one person I put on my Hear Me Out cake. I stand by her right now.
Interesting.
the number one. You mean the number one bunny?
Hey, Playboy Bunny's a thing for a reason.
There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
gonna
Space
throw,
Jam.
So I'm gonna throw out a question. It's a like you can just. It's a very
Uh-huh.
big. It might be a very big question. So who is your favorite Looney Tune?
Taz.
Damn, that was quick.
That was so quick.
I told Joseph, like, I already know what question Merce is gonna ask us on the box. He's like, what? It's like, she's gonna ask us who our favorite Looney Tune
Rude.
character is. I just know you.
Or because you looked at my sheet.
Definitely not. We just know you.
All right, I'm not gonna ask questions anymore.
As attractive as I find Lola Bunny, she is not my favorite. I always loved Martian Manhunter and Tweety Bird.
Martian Manhunter. I don't think I've ever
Fucking love
heard anybody
Martian
say
Manhunter.
the full name.
It's because that's not the name of the character.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
Thinking
think
of
I've
the
ever-
Justice League.
Oh my
character.
god, I'm so bad.
I was like,
I was waiting. I was like,
You're thinking of the eighth
Marvin
member of the
Martian?
Justice League. Warner Brothers. No, but you know what? It is a Warner Brothers property.
Marvin the Martian.
There you go.
There you go.
Marvin the Martian. I'm so sorry.
That's my number 2. That's why I was just like, let her cook.
Let her cook.
Let her
Marvin
cook.
the Martian.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I could see it, but
Who
I'm
I
like,
also thought was a
Like,
girl
I
growing
mean,
up.
like, she's not wrong.
Marvin
He's
the
always
Bullsperm.
hunting.
yeah,
Oh shit.
he does have a little skirt.
His little Roman.
His
skirt.
little Roman gladiator thing.
I just
always
love
thought
I
he was
love
cool.
Taz's chaos. That's not a reason why. I just love the
Him and
little
Tweety Bird.
tornado and
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Ryan, who's your favorite?
Off the top, there is. I don't remember his name, but it's like he's like a mob kind of character.
Oh, the short little.
Yeah, he's like a short little dude with the shut up, shutting
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I used to know his name
He was
because at
funny.
one point I casted all of us as Looney Tunes, you know, as I do, and I had his name down and I forgot who I casted that as.
Honorable mention for the frog with the top hat.
It's great. Yeah. Michigan J Frog,
Yeah, Michigan J Frog.
the WB spokesperson for a
Yeah.
minute.
You talking about Rocky and Muggsy?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Got you. I'm so sorry.
There was also the big hairy dude.
The big hairy, the red one.
Thing?
Yeah, the
The thing? No.
Right.
Thing of my nightmares.
Mhm.
Scared me as a child.
Mhm.
Yeah, the thing.
Oh, the one where he's in it with Bugs Bunny, that cartoon. Yeah. No, for real.
Terrified me as a child.
Terrifying.
And then definite top one would be Bugs in like the opera,
Oh,
like on
with
the horse.
Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So good.
solid.
I just hear the music in my brain right now.
Mm.
Marissa.
I have to go with Bugs. Just I remember just all of the toys and things that I had were pretty much all him. I have like a slight secondary category honorable mention for Sylvester just because I grew up with cats and I love cats, but I don't know, the granny was always fun for me too, just because I always loved those cartoons where it's like the granny, Sylvester, and Tweety. And then from me to you, I just love Pepe Le Pew. Just because we always make fun of it.
I love Pepe Le Pew.
We make
Pepe
fun
Le-
of Pepe Le Pew too.
Pepe Le Pew is very funny, but I guess people would call problematic.
Yeah.
So did they cancel
He got me too.
the skunk because he was a little too physically
Yes.
aggressive?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was because of that or if it was
His
because
actions in certain
cartoons.
cartoons
His
were brought back
advances,
up, and it was very
Got it.
forward.
Okay.
Just to leave it at
It
that.
was a little aggressive.
Yes.
I remember we started watching the original Space Jam, and I was like, Bugs Bunny is second build.
He was.
He was,
in
yeah.
the credits.
But Bugs Bunny, not like the person that voices
Oh, it
him
just
or
says
anything.
Bugs?
It says
It
it
literally-
literally
it's like
was
Michael
it's like
Jordan.
yeah, it does like the whatever
Bill
the
Murray?
music is like the when they're doing the montage
Yeah, yeah.
of like Michael Jordan coming up and whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like Michael Jordan, and you're like, yeah, Michael Jordan, that's awesome, and then it's like Bugs Bunny, and you're like, did you get money? Where'd they send that? Carrot Town,
Yeah.
where Bugs Bunny lives.
Did you guys catch the Ducks reference?
There
I
was
thought that was good.
It got me pretty
Oh, yeah.
good.
So I
That
had
was-
yeah.
I had that in my notes because a little backstory. Going back to a movie we spoke about during the Back to the Future podcast, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Disney specifically asked Warner Brothers for permission to use Warner Brothers intellectual property, like all the Looney Tunes, and they were like, "Yeah, sure," knowing like we're gonna cash in on that later.
Mhm.
And then when it finally came around, and they're like, "Oh, buddy, we're gonna have Mickey Mouse referee this this basketball match," and then Disney said, "Yeah, nah, we're not gonna do that."
It's fucked
so,
up.
so then Warner Brothers said, "Yeah, we didn't think you were gonna do that anyway, so
No.
we're gonna take as many digs as you as possible."
That Ducks one was good, dude. That was that one got me. That was pretty solid.
It hurts a
was.
little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn, dude.
Nah, it doesn't hurt that much. Disney has so much money. It's
They're flushed in cash.
flushed with cash.
I have one more thing I want to add about the first movie. Honestly, banging soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but jock jams.
That was my first comment. I was like, oh, you know that R. Kelly classic?
It is.
still slaps.
It still slaps. You know.
Separate the artist.
I mean,
from
you know
the
what?
art.
Separate the artist from the art.
He signed papers where he was so dyslexic that he couldn't read. That he signed papers over to that. No, this is this is not even a diss. This is true. That it goes to like the studio. So he never owned any of his music for like a decade already, even before he got put into jail. He didn't own any of it. That's why he
Before
was like.
Ignition?
He didn't own any of them. That's why he was so
Gets no
broke.
royalty rights
Like he doesn't
from
get
any of his
royalties for any of his songs because he signed a paper that he didn't read, and then the studio was just like, anytime we play your songs, we get all the fucking money for it.
What
all
about the
royalties.
remix to Ignition?
So technically, like, yeah,
Sorry.
it's
my favorite artist.
Don't let like R. Kelly, but he doesn't see a dime from it, dude.
I
He doesn't see a penny from any of those songs. And I did love that. I Believe I Can Fly was a jam when it came out. Oh my god, man! Like banger. Seal song is great. Fly Like an Eagle.
No.
I could not.
You don't
see
like
him.
that one?
No, I'm putting the kibosh on all of this because you guys always talk about that one Seal song that's for Batman.
Yeah.
And I go, there's more than this for Seal songs. You guys, we only know this one Seal song. And I
only
go,
know
no.
that
And I go, no, you don't. And I was like, Space Jam. And then I put it on.
I didn't know it was Seal
Oh.
until you brought it up.
Yeah, and then we go, okay, there's two
There's
Seal
two
songs.
Seal songs that we enjoy.
There's so many Seal songs.
I will say when we rewatched it and the song like came on, I could not unsee Seal as a seal. So in my head when the song was playing, I was like,
You're still
don't-
seeing him on that rock.
yes.
as a
And
seal.
then I tried to morph him into an eagle, and I was like, no, it's not working for me.
Doing too much. We didn't
I
watch
tried
this
to
on
watch-
mushrooms. Like what the hell?
I tried to morph him into an
my
eagle. Hey, he likes his animals.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought the soundtrack because the
Soundtrack
next one was.
so good.
I love that opening scene with like younger Michael and he's like playing ball outside and his dad comes out and you
Rip.
get like the like kind of like in the back. I was like, why did you laugh at me?
He said rip.
Oh, I was
Not laughing at you.
No, I just like for me like that to me is like the emotional scene of the movie of just like, you know, like you get like just like a father son moment and then like you hear like that wondrous R. Kelly tune in the
Yeah.
background.
I have a question.
I love the opener. The-
I don't know much about Michael Jordan.
Mm.
So obviously,
what do you want to know?
His dad was murdered?
I know that much. But
Marcus wasn't doing cocaine as a kid.
so stupid. Was his childhood exactly like the way it was portrayed
Yeah.
in the movie? Okay, that was
Yeah,
my
he
question.
played baseball first as a kid, but then he ended up falling in love with basketball. Then he went to North Carolina. Then dad died. Shall we rate this bell?
At this point, yeah.
let's get
shit.
I have to bring up one more
Okay.
thing. I'm sorry. I have to bring up one more thing because this is my biggest issue with this movie is everybody in this movie, as well as us, just okay with the fact that like nobody's questioning anything in this movie? Like a spaceship just landed in the middle of a baseball field and dropped off Michael Jordan. And everybody's like, oh yeah, oh there's Michael. Like he just got dropped off by a fucking Uber. They're just like, oh yeah, spaceship in the middle. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, it's Michael. Oh, okay. Well, at least he's here now and he can play the game. Not like, holy shit, there's a fucking spaceship in the middle of Angel Stadium. You know, like just for reference.
Mhm.
Like, what the fuck?
I think
I brought this question up to Joseph. I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
I brought this question up to him, and I was like, "Is nobody going to question?"
Nobody's questioning this.
Like the kids, they see his son
because
just
they at
gives
that
him-
time they viewed Michael as like a god, like an alien. That's not like they just kind of took it in that world. Like,
no!
that's Looney Tunes. Like it's not supposed to be something.
It's a
that,
Looney
like,
Tunes!
you
No,
think
real.
about.
Like you're telling me, like Michael Jordan just got sucked through a fucking golf hole, and you're telling me that nobody is gonna be like, "Hey, Michael Jordan just got sucked through a golf hole. Maybe we should call 911 or something like that." No, we're just gonna have his publicist dig into the center. Which one is the golf? Like, is the country club okay with him just digging this 9-foot hole?
He's fixing a divot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that they closed
there's
the forum
there's
for
not
everything.
there's not even cones around the divot.
there were codes.
You're welcome.
Hey, man, Newman does Newman things.
I just like,
And it was supposed to be Jason Alexander.
That's true.
He ended up rejecting the offer to play that character.
like nobody's questioning any of this. Like even Michael, when he gets sucked into Looney Tune world, which one is in the center of the earth randomly? Like he's not. He's not just
it
gonna
not
be
the
like,
center of
how
your
the fuck did I
childhood?
get here? Oh my god, Bugs, you're real. And then also, he's not a cartoon. He's still human form. That will also cross over to the second one.
Yes.
But nobody's questioning this. If you got sucked into whatever show, cartoon, you're telling me you wouldn't freak out? You'd just be like, oh yeah, this is normal. Okay, what am I doing to help you solve your problem?
I would think I'm on some type of shrooms, drugs, or anything, and I would just be along for the ride.
I'd be freaking out.
I would go along for it. I'd be like, all right, let's see how far this goes.
I'd be freaking out.
He knows Bugs Bunny. They work together.
All right, so shall we rate this this bad boy? That's the best we can.
I'm gonna go with.
Okay.
This movie brings me back so much nostalgia. It's not the perfect film, but also I don't have anything bad to say. But Michael Jordan clearly is not an actor. He didn't make this movie in order for him to win an Oscar. He just made the movie because he was getting paid the money to make this movie. And I think, besides everything, I think the whole live action and animated crossover thing, I think they did a great job with it. This was my first movie that I watched that was live action and animated. I did not watch
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit until my 20s. So I went from that to Osmosis Jones, which also starred Bill Murray, which I think is a great movie as well. I think this movie did a good job of bringing like a lot of jokes that I think about now as an adult, like, I get what you mean from there, but it was still like a very innocent, family-friendly movie. This movie still brings a smile to my face. I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 for this movie. I love this movie. I would watch it again and again and again.
High praise.
That praise.
It deserves it.
Super big praise.
Who wants to go first? I mean, next. You want to
Go for it,
Let's
Marissa.
I feel like this is unfair because I feel like I've been fighting like you guys. I feel like for the most part you guys have been all into the Looney Tunes and the Space Jams and the Michael Jordans and all that stuff, and I've just been fighting it like the whole time. I do like this movie. I have a soft spot for this movie. There are some things that as an adult looking in, I'm just like, where are these aliens coming through? Like, how is this thing? Like, my biggest issue is the fact that people aren't questioning things and they're not like, holy shit, Michael Jordan got kidnapped by cartoons kind of thing. I feel like that's super weird. I feel like this came at the perfect time though, like 90s. Like, I mean, obviously it hit very well, not only just with like kids, but with marketing. Like there were so many, like I remember Bugs Bunny, Michael Jordan, like cups and shirts and everything in between. And I grew up on Looney Tunes. We still watch them on like, I mean, whatever, as Ryan likes to say, whatever streaming device you use. But like Looney Tunes are all over Max. We've watched Looney Tunes cartoons all the time. Can never get away from it. So I'm going to give it, I'm going to say a 3.5. Because I can't get behind the fact that nobody's like aliens and cartoons from the center and the sky. I just can't get behind it. But I appreciate what it did for basketball and for Looney Tunes.
Side note, have you guys watched the revival of the Looney Tunes on
No!
HBO Max? It's pretty great if you haven't
It's pretty
caught
decent.
it. Joseph and I watched it.
That's
It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's made for our generation.
Yeah, it's for
more
adults.
so than the newer, like the younger kids.
It's good. I highly recommend it.
It's not the same.
First episode made Joseph.
It's not the same.
Die laughing. It might be better, honestly, at this age.
I would give it a watch if you haven't watched it.
I'm going to go Baby Looney Tunes if I'm not going Looney Tunes.
Oh, Baby Looney Tunes is great,
All the way.
but the new
Tiny
one,
Toons.
pretty good.
This
Tiny
is
Toon-
as far.
I wish we had time for like almost like Band of Brothers mini-series version for Tiny Toons. I love Tiny Toons. But that's all. What else say? Ryan.
So, yes, that.
I
hated it.
I just heard like, so this is the Earth.
No, so, but there was no way.
So sweet Earth. Sorry.
I love this movie. I grew up with this movie. I love the Looney Tunes. Michael Jordan, great guy.
He's not
could
dead.
ball. I didn't say he was dead. I'm thinking. I didn't do that.
His
I went.
career's dead.
Roll tape.
3.5 for me. I think that saying, like, Michael Jordan is upset, like when he's like in the Looney Tunes world, like, what? You're not real. He's not a great actor, but it's conveyed that he's not happy or confused. Maybe the thing that I always get weirded out is like no one sees that pink shit on the court when they're like stealing
When they're stealing their
all
basketball
their
essence.
mojo.
Oh, like the goo?
Yeah.
You mean like the Power Rangers-esque goo that's slimed into the... Yeah, the
Only
ooze?
that lady
Yeah.
and Homer Simpson see that.
Yeah.
When But yeah, for me, I say 3.5. There's a lot of great references in it too, like the Pulp Fiction reference. I
Love
like
that.
I would always rewind it and be like, "That's really funny." Even as like a young kid, I knew what Pulp Fiction was because
I'm watching Pulp Fiction as like a 6-year-old.
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah,
The music,
fuck out
the
of
music,
town.
like, oh,
yeah.
the shades,
There's a
dude.
certain saxophone song you can't hear.
They came out with a
anymore,
shirt
but-
of that, and I wanted that shirt so bad. Of both
Oh,
of them.
both of them?
Just-
That's
just with the
funny.
guns up with the shades on. I was just
Yeah.
like, oh.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, very enjoyable, very entertaining. I like. Thank you.
I like.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of my childhood. Again, for my love for basketball and for the greatness of Michael Jordan. And again, Looney Tunes came out, like you said, the perfect time. Peak era of Jordan. The mixture of Looney Tunes. You got Bill Murray in it. Some NBA players that people knew at that time, like Ewing and Charles Barkley and Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Sean Bradley, even the Laker cameos with Vlade Divac. Thank you for Kobe. A lot of those things really just make me happy when I watch it. Even you mentioned, like, oh, look, it's the Forum. I'm like, even that makes me pop. So for when it came out, that era it came out in, again, his acting isn't something to be like, oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, but just the movie in itself, the joy that it brings with me, I could just shut my brain off just because it's Looney Tunes. That helps a lot. If it was just a straight Michael Jordan movie, I would have kind of been like,
It would have been rough.
But yeah, if it would have been a movie about Michael Jordan coming back to basketball from baseball and it's like a serious drama or whatever, it wouldn't have worked. But with the Looney Tunes inclusion, I think it helped add to it and made it way more enjoyable than it could have been. So I'm at a 4 out of 5 with this film. I just love it. I just have a very soft spot for it, and I will always love this film, which is why when they announced Space Jam 2, I was like, all right, LeBron James, let's see what happens. Biased because he was on the Lakers at that time and we had just won the chip. So I was very excited to see where it went. So saying that, let's get into Space Jam, a new legacy.
Did you give? So you're giving Space Jam 4 loonies and 1 toonie?
There's one to
Space Jam New Legacy.
That was good.
New legacy, $150 million budget.
Okay.
Only made $163.7 million in the box office.
Only.
Rough.
Only.
Hit us with that cinema score.
Wasn't it like? It was like right at the end of COVID.
It was
right?
2021.
Yeah.
20 yeah.
Cinema score, A-. Same as Space Jam.
Fuck off.
Yeah, same
Fuck
exact
all the way
cinema
off.
score as Space Jam. Now, prior to this, they had wanted to make a Space Jam 2. They greenlit a Space Jam 2 in 1996 after the release of Space Jam. The producer had said that Michael Jordan was signed on. He was not.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks was going to voice the villain. And
Okay.
they had already were like drawing and they were getting ready to do it. And Jordan was like, I never once either agreed to it nor signed the contract that said I'm doing a sequel. Jordan was not interested in doing the second one. He was just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So then they tried to do other versions of Space Jam. They tried to do one with Jeff Gordon, Tiger Woods, and Tony Hawk. Those
I could see the Tony Hawk one.
yes, and I can see the Woods
absolutely
one
see
because of the
that.
golf in the first one. They could have kind of brought that kind of back, especially since they sucked him in. They could have found a way, but it wouldn't have been good. But
I feel like I've seen an interview with Tony Hawk
Hmm.
where they were actually in the works of having him sign the contract, but he had to fly somewhere to do
Yes.
something. And then he was like, he was all pumped for it. And
Yeah.
then by the time he came back from whatever he was doing, he was like, okay, so like what's going on with this Space Jam thing? And they like had pulled it from the table.
and he was the closest one to get a movie.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna say,
Woods
I was
didn't
like,
go
I
that far.
feel like
'cause,
I've seen that interview.
Tiger didn't want to do it. Jeff Gordon was like,
I mean, fuck Tiger.
Yeah, in hindsight, after,
yeah.
but and then Jeff didn't want to do it either. So like it just was scrapped for a minute, and then 2014 is when they tried to bring it back with LeBron.
I thought there was at one point talks of having Kobe do it.
Yeah, but Kobe just didn't want to do it. Shaq wanted it, but they were like, yeah,
Why didn't they do it with Shaq?
because of Kazam and all the other ones Shaq movies had
well,
done. Yeah,
that's fair.
They're thinking about that. Yeah.
and then they
Little
watched
ditty.
the one fucking show that Kobe was on. Fuck, I forget her name. He took her to prom. Ray J's cousin.
Brandy.
Yeah,
Brandy?
he starred in the show that she was in. on
Moesha.
Moesha? He was a Moesha?
He was a
What was
Moesha.
it, like one episode?
I think he was like in 2 or 3 because it was like a date. Like he was Laker. He's,
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Reoccurring
He
episode.
did.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that at all.
And,
And I watched
and his
Moesha.
acting was. And then he was just
I
like,
mean,
yeah, it's
okay.
an athlete. We're expecting these athletes to like.
Yeah, I feel like we have to be fair in the
Yes.
fact, like, yes, I
They're
mentioned,
not actors.
Yeah, I
They're-
was like, I mentioned in Space Jam, like, that the actors were a little stiff, they're a little like drony,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we're not paying them to be actors, we're paying them to be sports legends,
to be
if
the
you
face
will.
of the
To be
film,
athletes,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think Kobe was just like, I already did Moesha. I didn't do good at that. I don't want to do Space Jam. So then they started circling around LeBron and 2014, but LeBron was just like not interested at the time. But then obviously with the move to LA, becoming a Laker, he's there. It kind of went hand to hand. So yeah, LeBron, Space Jam,
LeBron
a new
James.
legacy.
It wasn't his first acting movie.
No, it was not. He was in that
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck.
I actually didn't mind him in
I didn't mind him.
Trainwreck.
I didn't mind him either.
He
I
was
did
funny
not.
in that.
I had
Yeah.
a problem
mind
with
him in
I had a
Trainwreck.
problem with John Cena. in
How
that
dare
movie.
you? John Cena was my favorite
He's
part
a
of that film.
national treasure.
I like him in other movies.
mean,
I loved him in Ricky Stenicki.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I've
You
seen
watched it
clips
without
of
me.
that.
I
I mean,
actually
technically,
really-
nobody saw him in Ricky Stignicki because
You can't see him.
So then, how do you know he was in Trainwreck?
boom.
I just couldn't stand him in Trainwreck. I love him in Peacemaker.
He's great in Peacemaker. He was good in that Suicide Squad movie as
I
Peacemaker.
also liked him in that Cockblockers movie, whatever the
What's
one
the name of
where
the movie?
his
Oh, actually, it's Blockers.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
John
that
Cena
one.
podcast
Yeah.
special, where we talk about John Cena all
Cena.
the time.
So this movie was not made for Oscars or anything. However, I think, in my opinion, I think LeBron was a better actor than Michael Jordan was.
Absolutely not.
Fight me on this.
Absolutely fight you on this.
Go for it.
There is a very specific scene in the beginning where the wife comes out and she goes, come on in for dinner. And she goes, it's spaghetti and meatballs. And LeBron just goes, oh, that's my favorite.
But is that a LeBron thing or is that bad writing?
That's a LeBron thing.
I'm going to say
I
that's a
could vouch-
LeBron thing.
I could
Oh, no,
vouch
no.
for that.
I'm going to say that's a LeBron thing. I'm gonna say this is a LeBron thing, because like we just mentioned, like I didn't mind him in Trainwreck, and
Yes.
Trainwreck, like arguably, as much as like everybody, and I say that everybody hates Amy Schumer,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't hate on that movie. That movie is actually probably her best work, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
Yeah.
I would say it's her best work.
I agree with
And
that.
like she writes, Bill Hader write, like there's a lot of people credited in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is in that movie. I did not mind LeBron in that movie.
But LeBron was also 30-second cameo. He was not the star
He
of
was
the
in
movie.
scenes.
5 minutes
With
of that
an S?
entire movie.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I could vouch for that. That's a total LeBron move. This is the same guy that tried to franchise Taco Tuesday. And, like, you can't
Tuesday.
because somebody already did. Like it's not.
Well,
like,
yeah, and, like,
you
they-
didn't invent Taco Tuesday.
they
bro.
mention it in the movie too. Like
Yeah.
they say something about like at the end, Bugs Bunny's like, "Can I stay for Taco Tuesday?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a whole bit too. And then like even like my biggest thing in there was like LeBron is super awkward.
Yes.
Like just the whole time. Like, and I don't even understand why he's so awkward. Is he not that cool in real life? Like I feel like just be yourself, dude.
Even
like,
when like he's bickering with the tunes, I'm like, it doesn't seem like this is like
it's
It doesn't
the
seem like
same.
LeBron.
It doesn't
off.
like the way they portray it. It's not the same as Space Jam was.
Yeah.
like you could tell that Michael and this Jordan is trying to work with the tunes to figure it out. Whereas like LeBron is like fundamentals and we have to do this, and he's just being like kind of a douche. I love Pookie, but he's just like he's
You
just
know-
so annoying
know-
in this movie where they're just bickering back and forth. Sometimes I'm just like, what? Like in Space Jam, they went out to find Michael.
Yeah.
And this one, it feels like him and Bugs are like fighting over who's going to be the team captain of the team, which is, I get it from the perspective that LeBron has dealt with that his entire career when he went to Miami, when he went back to Cleveland with the Lakers. Like it's been a thing in his career, but to put that in that movie, it kind of felt standoffish and it made him look awkward, like you said. And also, by the way, he won
like Pookie.
he won the Golden Raspberry for the worst actor.
That's
that
fine.
year.
I'm not
Fantastic.
saying he's a great actor.
Fantastic.
I'm not saying Michael Jordan's a great actor too.
He was the roughest part to me in this film.
he's just
I-
so cringy in this
He's
movie.
very cringy, and I agree with you. I just think maybe it's because I felt like this movie had a lot more heart and soul to it than the first one did. You have
because
his
of
whole,
the kid and son
hold on.
because of the kid and son dynamic, and I 100% agree with
And
you
I agree,
on that.
and I think it's
that's
a whole father-son
yes,
dynamic.
and the aspects of that I do enjoy about him trying to force his kid to play basketball and the kid wanting to play video games, because in this generation that is an absolute fact. That's like LebronJames is part of FaZe
Oh my God,
Clan.
is that why he had a heart attack?
Shit,
No.
he's part. I didn't even know that.
He's part of FaZe Clan.
Oh, that makes sense.
And like that could be a legitimate thing. Like I could buy into like, hey, I want you to be the next basketball star of our family, and it could be like, I don't want to do that. I want to stream. I want to do video games. I
Well,
want to
yeah,
do video game developer.
that's fair.
That I was fine with. I was fine with what they
Yeah,
presented as a
that's fair.
story.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
everything else that
Around
happens
it.
after the fact of the story. That's what
Well, yeah,
annoyed me.
because
Do you know how
even
much I
like
hated that storyline?
Why?
I
That's
love
a
video-
realistic
I-
no,
story.
I love video
but it's the
games.
same
I
argument.
hated that storyline.
But it's the same argument I had for the first one, which is kind of like LeBron James just gets sucked into this like AI world, and he's not like, oh my God, how did I get here? Blah 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 blah. He's just like, what's going on? Oh, okay, we got to play this game. Okay, well let's go. Like everybody's just okay with this. It doesn't make any fucking sense that if you get sucked into an AI world, a computer generated, like whatever it is, you're not gonna think for a minute or two of like, how the fuck am I here right now? I'm sorry. Like what was it, Little El Rey? He was the only one that I actually like was like, yes. Like, how the fuck did I get? Are we dead? Like 100%. That's 100% my thought.
I did enjoy, like, the only thing I'll give this movie credit for is like this movie did have a purpose where it's like he has to win this game to get his son back. Whereas Michael, he's just helping the Looney Tunes until he makes that pact in the fourth quarter where it's like, if I lose,
You get me.
you get me.
Yeah, you get me.
Where this one, it's like, yeah, LeBron's going to want his kid back. That made sense to me. That's all. I'll give him that.
He's got 3 other ones.
2 other ones. Right? He has
other
3
ones?
kids only, right?
He has he only has 3. He has,
Oh, I thought in this
he
one
has
he had 4.
No, the other one's his
manager or
his
something.
it's like-
It's just
oh,
Rich
okay.
Paul, yeah,
His
because he
Rich
has
Paul
in real life he has
What
Bronny
is that?
Bryce and Shuri. But so that the storyline I was fine with because I could see that from that aspect of the kid doesn't want to play ball, he wants to play video games, wants to be a video game developer, whatever the case may be, and LeBron has to win this game to get his son back. That made sense to me. It's everything else that's surrounded it. And like watching this film too, like I felt like they watched Ready Player One 3 years prior, and they're like, well, we have Warner Brothers properties, so let's bring our Warner Brothers properties and have them all around the court.
Run it back.
Like Clockwork Orange and like 2 Jokers and Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze and like
Not
just
even.
and,
Not even.
and it's just
It's not
like
even what he looked like.
yeah, and I just like I felt like that's what they saw in Ready Player One. That's what they took from that aspect and they put into this whole like metaverse Warner Brothers properties, IPs, and I hated that. I just was not a fan of the presentation. I wasn't a fan of what they did. Like there's a lot of story there. You could build around that aspect. It's what they did prior to that. After that, I mean, that just bugged me. It just rubbed me the wrong way. And
I
Braun's
agree.
acting is rough. There's some scenes where it's just like, come on, man. He's my Pookie. I'll sing a lullaby to him anytime as long as he brings me another championship. But goddamn, that movie, it was a rough watch.
You know who I had actually a problem? I didn't really have that big of a problem with LeBron's acting.
I'm gonna say Don Cheadle.
I hated. Hate is not the strong word. I loathed Don Cheadle
I was like, please say
as
Don
the
Cheadle.
villain. I thought
Oh my
he was
God.
the way that you guys said LeBron was cringy and awkward. I put that to Don Cheadle. I think he was the worst part of that movie. I just honestly did not believe him as a villain, and him as this weird computer generated AI
Algie.
algae, whatever the fuck he was. It was not buying it. And then when he towards like the third half of the movie where he became this like weird goon squad, whatever macho man superhero thing that he became,
iRobot,
I was just like,
fucking
please, like,
monster,
shut the fuck
man.
up and like get out of the screen.
I'm gonna give this one to you only because LeBron is not an actor, 100%.
But Don Cheadle is.
But Don Cheadle is.
That's his career.
which is awful because like Don Cheadle has done so many other projects in which he is great. So it almost makes me wonder of like, did he want to be in this? Was this something like, does he have kids that he did this for?
Is it a money
Was he
grab?
Tied to some,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Was he tied to something else where like he was like Netflix movies, right? Like they're all contracted to do like 3 movies or like a series or whatever it is. So, but like this to me was upsetting for Don Cheadle. Like
He was the worst
like,
part of the movie. Too.
yeah, I could get behind whether LeBron or even Michael, if they were bad, like it's not their thing. This is not their career. So like, yeah, whatever. They're in it because they wanted to do a collaboration between sports and a movie. I can get behind that. But like Don Cheadle, I don't know. Yeah, like I don't even know if it was writing. I don't know if it's anything else. Like
It's
just
everything.
He's awful. He's
He's so bad. And my first introduction to Don Cheadle as an actor was Iron Man. One of the Iron Man movies.
2.
Yeah, that one.
I love Iron Man too.
That person in Iron Man.
It's a secret pleasure.
I never really watched him in anything else. My first literal introduction to him was Iron Man, and I was like, he's Iron Man 2. It's not
Hotel
bad.
Rwanda?
Huh?
Hotel Rwanda? Don Cheadle?
No, I don't know.
No.
He was in
Yes,
Hotel
he
Rwanda,
was
right?
in Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's great.
Ocean's movie.
And then the last
Uh,
movie
great.
that I
No,
saw him in was
don't-
the Ocean's movie.
Crash. Wasn't he in Crash?
Terrible. Don Cheadle, we talked about his accent.
I know. I'm just naming other movies.
I
that
know.
Don
I'm just saying,
Cheadle's
like,
been
if you want to see Don Cheadle at his best, Hotel Rwanda.
I've seen him in 2 movie series. Iron Man series, Avengers, everything. Oceans series, and now Space Jam, A New Legacy.
I was like, was that you being like, let her cook?
No,
Oh, I thought you were being
I
like,
thought it was-
let her
It was a
cook.
good move. It was a good move.
Yeah, I felt like it was too.
If I start
Oh,
talking about Lola Bunny,
she
then
had it like here
Yeah,
at one point, and I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
we
That's
saw
all just like, no.
I'm not that clumsy.
LeBron James.
We live a dangerous
LeBron
life.
James was not the worst part. It was Don Cheadle.
would LeBron James be a Gryffindor?
I thought no, he was a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah, but in this, he was a Gryffindor.
Was he really?
Be a
In
Hufflepuff.
the
Yeah,
movie,
when
he
he's
was a
flying
Hufflepuff.
around,
I don't remember.
he's in Gryffindor attire.
Jamie pulled up.
I want to say he was in a Hufflepuff attire.
I feel like he was in Gryffindor
I want to say he goes,
attire.
"Oh, I'm a Hufflepuff."
Because he even had the scar.
How do we feel about him being animated?
Not good.
It was very strange. It didn't make sense because it's like, why you're a human,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to the animated world. Now you're animated,
Mhm.
but then when the Looney Tunes get like charged up or whatever,
They
and he turns them
become-
into CGI, and then he becomes a human, and then they're still cartoons.
Yeah, but what is
Yeah.
he dressed as?
Hufflepuff. No, Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Gryffindor.
Wait, Gryffindor.
Thank you.
But then he's a Hufflepuff.
That doesn't make any sense. Why
He
would
says,
he be
"I'm a
both?
Hufflepuff."
He's a Hufflepuff, but he shows up in a Gryffindor
Yeah.
uniform.
Because he has the scar, he's dressed as Harry Potter because they're trying to.
Because they
tie
have the
their-
IP property.
their
And they're like,
inner- yeah.
Mhm.
I don't
Upsets
agree
me
that that's a
greatly.
smart move, but
Upsets me greatly. He's also fighting Batman in one scene. So, in my world, does that make him a villain?
I thought he was Robin.
You like Batman and you like
No, he was
basketball.
Batman.
So I'm asking.
No, I thought Bugs was Batman and he was Robin.
What's your toy?
There was a part where he's versus Batman. That's what I wrote down. So I asked, was he the villain? Yes, in the car he is Robin. to
Yeah,
Bugs'
Bugs Batman.
But then they're fighting
Was it Superman?
Batman in another movie.
Was it
or another
BVS? I don't remember. There's so many because I feel like they just doubled down on like all the properties that they actually owned, and that's what bothered me about this film. It's like, okay, we know you own all these IPs. We
Well,
get
at one
it, man.
point too, like you even said, you're like, this is just Tron.
Yes.
no, I said it was Ready Player One
Well, no, you said there was.
Oh,
at
yeah,
one
no, yeah.
point,
Yeah, yeah.
at one point there
because
you
they
were
get
like,
sucked
it's
into
Tron.
the serververse.
Yeah, you said it's Tron, but with Warner Brothers characters.
I agree with your point that you said. What my biggest critique with this movie, I really didn't care for the 2D, 3D animation warp thing that they had going on. I really didn't care to see an animated LeBron James, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, the 2 WNBA players whose names I do not
Diana
know.
Taurasi and I'm not gonna remember the other one.
Sure. The spider lady,
I'm not gonna remember.
arachnophobia,
I just
whatever.
remember Diana Taurasi.
Was that WNBA?
Yeah, the two
The two girls
spider
were
and the
W,
snake,
yeah.
they're WNBA players.
I mean, WNBA wouldn't be playing with NBA, would it?
No, they would not.
All-Star Weekend, yeah. They've been changing it up.
I just didn't care for that weird
It was just the inclusion
animation
I
thing
guess.
that they had going on. I would have preferred to keeping true with like the classic. I would have preferred LeBron James to say LeBron James. I didn't care for animated LeBron James or animated anyone like Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and the 2 WNBA players.
LeBron
Sure,
James.
Careful what you
fine.
talk about my Sheila. Don't ruin
My
her.
Sheila, you don't want me to talk about
Don't talk
Anthony
about AD. I still
Davis?
love AD. No, but Damian Lillard being like this ultimate fucking like villain thing
So
pissed
many-
me off because like I'm
so
sorry,
many.
but that comes from the perspective of somebody that like watches that's been watching basketball for like for so long. Where I look at Dame and I'm like, that's the guy that's like, he's like our final like level of like he's gonna
not
kill you
even on
guys.
the level of LeBron James.
No, but it would have been cool if they got like Steph Curry, somebody that's. I think they needed that. Like AD's cool, Diana Taurasi's
Yeah, but
one
like
of the
maybe
best.
they tried to and they couldn't.
Steph Curry would have taken it
Yeah, Steph.
if they asked. They would have.
Steph would have done. I don't know. It's depending on who. Like LeBron's gonna run it the way he wants to run it because it did come out of like his like studio because he has his own Spring Hill Studios.
Yeah.
So it does depend because
That all kind of makes sense now.
yes,
'Cause
it comes
I
from-
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Can I have like a side question or a side comparison? So is Steph Curry to basketball as Kermit is to football?
Mahomes?
Yeah.
No, LeBron's
No.
Mahomes.
LeBron is Mahomes. Steph Curry, I would say,
Steph-
is probably.
Steph is Peyton Manning.
Or are you just asking about his team?
personality-wise.
Oh, personality wise,
I would-
then I would say personality wise, Steph is Kermit and LeBron is Brady.
Well,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
argue too that like LeBron is the Mahomes of
Yeah,
like the Lakers. Steph
Yes.
is the LeBron.
I would actually
the
give-
Is
of-
Mahomes that good?
No,
Yes.
well,
Yes and no.
Based on last Super Bowl.
and no.
We disagree.
now with the events that transpired this last Super Bowl,
I mean,
you don't have to close it. I think Brady is LeBron, whereas like you could make Curry Mahomes. You can make that alignment because like Curry has lost multiple times in the finals, so has Mahomes. But like Brady and LeBron, when they make it to the finals, they usually win. They've never been embarrassed the way Mahomes has. Mahomes has been embarrassed twice now in the Super Bowl. Brady's never been embarrassed in the Super Bowl like that. Like Brady has lost the most Brady's ever lost in the Super Bowl is by 6 points, which is insane.
Yeah, it wasn't a blowout.
In my head, I had Steph Curry as Josh Allen.
You can't make that comparison though because
I know because Steph Curry has one, Josh Allen has not.
Curry has 4.
Josh Allen has
Yes.
0. But I would compare current Steph
Not because
Curry.
of his choice.
So sorry, Ryan.
That's
Maybe
not
now
my
that
choice.
maybe when he gets married, he'll be better.
Space Jam New Legacy.
so is this movie's concept more of a stretch than the original?
Yes and no.
I say yes, and I say that because I think that Warner Brothers was still trying to like create that universe that they were trying to do like with Scoob.
Such a
I
good
like
movie.
Scoob.
I did too. I thought it was a
Loved
good movie.
Scoob.
But they keep trying to like build this like universes.
Multiverse.
I wish we could do
multiverses are
Scoob.
in.
They never made that
They never
sequel.
made it.
I agree with you that they're trying to build this multiverse world where it's like it's not needed. Make your own stories, man. Adding these guys, it just feels like a cheap pop. It just feels like you just want these guys included into this so people can be like, oh, I remember that from this and that.
Okay, wait. So we're gonna time out for a minute because, well, not like literally time out, but. So let's say we want to combine the two worlds, right? We're like, we've got this great NBA superstar, X person, right? Whoever it may be at the time, and you want to bring them into the movie world. How are you gonna rope that into a realistic way? They obviously have to be doing the sport that they're doing.
Yes.
You know, so okay, basketball has to be on the table if you're going to do NBA. So how are we going to rope in NBA? Like, how are we going to rope in, okay, we're going to do Looney Tunes. How are we going to hodgepodge Looney Tunes, an NBA superstar together in a basketball game? How would that even compare? I mean, I guess the only explanation between the two worlds would be something out of this world, like aliens.
Do you want to go on a whole conversation on aliens?
I mean, like, I understand
I'll
why
do
they're
it.
doing, like, the AI thing because obviously now we're, like, in the future. And, like, the kids with their technology, like, even in the beginning scene, you don't have this, like, nice father-son moment. You have, like, this mother-son moment where she's like, why are you playing the video game?
But then you
crap?"
also
And
have to
blah,
think
blah, blah,
about
blah.
LeBron's dad was never in the picture.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm not arguing, like, the mother and son versus father and son. I'm arguing more in the sense of, like, you have this kid who's like, I want to play video games, which, like, what fucking kid doesn't want to play video games or at least try video games? And then the mom's like, you better knock that shit off or else you're not going to do the game. Or the coach is like, you better, like, the Game Boy, which Game Boy is probably not of the time that this is happening. And he just tosses the Game Boy and he's like,
Well, it's because that was LeBron as a young.
Yeah, he gets a Game Boy in the beginning, right?
Because
Isn't
at
that
the time,
in
it
the
would have
time in the
been-
90s, right?
Cause
but I mean, like, you're not allowing your kid to play a Game Boy. Like, once.
It's
twice,
because they couldn't
3
afford
times.
it.
Not when you are the chosen one.
But once you have a Game Boy, you're not like paying a subscription on this thing. It's not.
No, it's not the
Netflix
same
account.
as it is
Yeah,
now.
it's not-
The
it's
gaming
different.
then and gaming now is a
Yeah,
totally
it's
different landscape.
It's totally different. When
It's changed completely.
like I still have my Game Boy Advance, and as long as you got AAA batteries or AA batteries, you're good to go.
We had physical copies. We didn't have to fucking download shit.
We had CDs
I had
and
Pokemon Red
cartridges.
and Yellow.
Friends of that one. It was like the Mark McGuire.
You don't know shit about that.
I don't know. I have multiple problems with LeBron.
I think they tried too hard in this movie to bring
absolutely
the whole metaverse.
Yes.
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 And
Yes.
I know this movie came out I believe after Space Jam. I think
Well, yes, baby. It's 2021.
Yeah.
no,
I was like,
I meant
what?
the movie was, like Chip and Dale, the latest Disney one. I think they did a good job of like doing the
Oh, yeah.
metaverse.
Absolutely.
And
Because it wasn't-
it wasn't like here and here and here and here. It
But
was
they
very,
weren't just
like,
in the crowd.
subtle.
It was very like they had
This-
moments, they had
yeah.
interactions
There
with
was
these
purposes
characters.
to
Yes.
that.
It wasn't like, hey, we're our audience, the people watching this game are all the IP properties that we own. There's a very like cheap way of doing it. And, like Chip
Yeah.
and Dale had interactions, like the ugly Sonic. They literally talk to him. There's like interactions here and there where it's like I appreciate that. Whereas in Space Jam: New Legacy, they're just in the background. And it's kind of distracting to the overall
It is.
movie because
No,
now you're
and
like,
I
wait,
agree.
is that? Is this that? Is that the
Yeah.
flying monkey from Wizard of Oz? Is it like it's just so like it's such an eyesore, and it takes away from the overall story and the overall game, which is the game is the biggest part of Space Jam.
And I agree. And I remember, like this the second time watching Space Jam: New Legacy, I was just like, oh my god, it's Alphaba, it's Danny DeVito's Penguin, it's this and this and this.
got
It's-
Alpha first before you got the Danny DeVito Penguin.
How
It's
dare you.
on Wicked Mode.
The
But,
food's
like,
here, by the way.
But my biggest thing was like I was focused on like I love a lot of Warner Brothers property. Like I love Game of Thrones and like seeing like the Night King. I was like, this is great. This is like worlds are colliding, my childhood and like my current life and everything. But it's like just felt like a cheap shot that I was like, eh.
Well, yeah, and it would have been so cool to see that had we not already gotten Ready Player One.
Yes.
We already got
3
that.
years prior.
Yeah.
It just felt like a
We already
cheap
got that.
way to
Yes.
like
Insert.
mush
And
everything.
Ready Player
Look at
One
our shit.
and
Look at
Ready
our
Player
shit.
One fit the story.
Yes.
The overall
There was a point to it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Because
like
you
the
can buy
Iron Giant.
skins,
Yeah.
you can do this.
and it was
it's
a
like
war.
Fortnite.
And it was like we need to like have our avatars summon these characters to have fight this big war at the end.
like a weird mix of everything that I just didn't care for.
Yes, because it was just like a look at this, look at that. Not
Isn't
really,
this cool?
It
not
distracted
really
me.
attention to
Yes,
story, not
agreed,
really attention
agreed.
to anything. It
Mhm.
was
Distracted me from
important.
everything.
Yeah.
I feel like the more we get into this movie, the more cringy it gets. Like I think we're finishing the movie and there's this moment where they decide to have a rap battle.
Fuck, I totally forgot about
And-
I'm
that.
not gonna lie, that kind of killed me. Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
There was
and
parts that were
then-
funny.
The LeBron dancing and just doing his thing. And there's like, even before that, there's like this moment where Don Cheadle's like, LeBron, looks like we have some VIPs coming in. And LeBron's like, no. And I was just like, cut back to Star Wars of just like the, no. Like it's and then, yeah, they make an MC Hammer reference, which like timely.
I mean,
Like-
they make a lot of references in this too that are like, who is it for? Because like
What's the
not
audience?
even like
Yeah.
kids today would know what you're talking about from this 1940s reference your Looney Tunes are making.
Yeah, like I almost want to watch this with like my nephews who are like arguably 13 and like 9, and like I almost want to be like, do you get what's happening? Because I don't understand what's happening. And if they say yes and I say no, like maybe that's one thing, but like
They wouldn't
I
even
just
know.
feel like they're
Yeah.
trying so hard to do so many things, and like it's just like I feel like the original Space Jam, like it wasn't necessarily trying to be one way or the other. It was just creating the storyline, which
Yeah.
even though it was absurd,
Mhm.
like it still kind of hits where like you have someone who's like in their 20s, their 30s, watching this movie, watching it back from when it was first created, and they still get those like those feelings, that nostalgia. They still have a good fond remembrance of it. And now you have Space Jam, a new legacy. There's no legacy here. Like it's just you're trying to recreate something that we already did 20 years ago.
just try to make it hip
And yeah, you're trying to make it hip with the kids, with the in the computer system, and like, oh, it's like, you know, AI, and we're doing it with like the online. Like, you just, who wrote this? Bunch of 60-year-olds who never had a MySpace, or what? What's happening?
Probably.
Which, that's fine if you didn't, but like, be real. We already got Ready Player One. Way better movie.
I agree 100% on that. That was the biggest thing for me. I was just like, they're just
Spielberg.
copying something that was better.
I was like, Spielberg.
Yeah.
Can't argue.
I have two things I want to say.
Hit us with them.
One thing.
Zendaya.
How'd you know?
I already know.
Zendaya is Lola Bunny. That is like my wet dreams come true.
Damn.
However,
Are you furry?
no, just for anything Zendaya does.
Joseph?
I really didn't care for Lola Bunny in this movie. It's really, it hurts my soul because I love Zendaya. I just didn't care for Lola Bunny in this movie. Her whole Amazonian warrior princess that she's trying to do with Wonder Woman, scrap
Done.
that. Didn't care for that. Her coddling Bugs Bunny and everything, cute, but like, I didn't need that from Lola Bunny. I felt like she wasn't the basketball star that she was in the first movie and the second movie. That is my biggest thing. I still love you, Zendaya.
I don't know if that's necessarily her, though. Because she didn't write it. She just voiced.
She didn't write it, but her biggest, I read like one thing is that she didn't want to have like, she didn't want to play the over sexualized bunny from the first movie to voice her.
didn't. Yeah,
She didn't.
She didn't.
Which, sure, whatever. I still love Lola Bunny and I still love Zendaya. I just didn't care for 3D animated Lola Bunny in this one.
I just feel like she didn't have the strength that she had in the first one.
Agreed.
Like, if you're really trying to not force, but like insert like a woman figure into the Looney Tunes verse, or like into basketball or whatever have you, I feel like she was just so muted in this.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not saying it's obviously not her story. We're all about like LeBron defeating Don Cheadle as AI and
The Goon
whatever it was, and then like the whole father-son, my legacy is basketball, your legacy should be basketball, like whatever that argument is. Like, obviously Lola is not like the high point of the movie and the things that we need to hit, but at the same time, like, you could have still showed how much of a force she was, because like she was the star of the Toon Squad minus Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
It's another MJ.
It's MJ, and I was like, whoo. But I mean, like, you know, like she was such a strong player in the first one, with or without Michael Jordan. And I feel like in this one, it was just, she's
very
so
muted.
She's just so muted. And like,
very
and
muted.
even for like someone like Zendaya, like, I feel like Zendaya is not a muted character in anything that she plays. So it's so strange for me that she's even voicing this character. Like, I feel like she could be in such another property,
She could do better.
being a voice, like, and just having that strength that she always brings to every single role that I feel like she's in.
She did Dune that same year.
Yeah, like, she's such a strong character. She's such a strong voice. To me, this just was not the property to have her in. And like, I understand maybe having her in this role would like attract younger viewers, whatever have you. You're already trying to attract younger viewers because you're bringing in this whole like internet AI world and trying to push it and force it into the nostalgia world that all of the grown-ups who are taking their kids to this movie are watching. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, who is this movie for? If you would have brought back Michael Jordan, yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Like, even as a cameo, for sure. 100% I'm okay with the wink and the nod to the Michael B. Jordan. That was funny. I liked that. But, like, who is this for? Who asked for this?
Not us.
Did it make money?
No. It
It made some money.
I think it went from a box office of 150 to a budget of 150 to a box office of 160.
But
So
it also
made
came out
10?
during COVID.
Yeah.
Did it go
So 10?
straight to HBO Max or?
Double.
Yeah, I was like, I know we saw it on Max during COVID.
We saw it
or
on
the end
Max.
of COVID.
Theatrical release, the same opening weekend.
The only other thing that I have left, soundtrack for this movie, not as good as the first one. However, originally Hans Zimmer was
Hans.
teamed to do this one. Then they attached a co-composer to this movie, whose name is Chris Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
Hans Zimmer dropped out. Chris Bowers became the only composer of this movie. Who he's done pretty good movies. He did The Wild Robot. He is a composer of Bridgerton. And then the one that he won an award for is he was a composer for the Kobe Bryant documentary that came out on Showtime.
Okay.
So he did a bunch of good things, but then this one I was just like,
I mean, could you really argue the Bridgerton though? Because Bridgerton is just taking like, oh my God, this is a hit smash song,
And turning it
let's
to
make
like
it,
a,
let's make it classical.
these are the ones that he got nominated for.
I know, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I mean, you're just taking a song that's already popular and being like, well, let's try a different version. It's like taking any song and being like, well, what if we played an acoustic version of it?
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
I mean,
so like,
I can't even tell
can't
you
fart.
anything about the music
no.
for New Legacy,
no, I got nothing.
but I got.
Is there a
for-
song?
Yeah,
Because I mean, there's so
I
many
can't
songs.
even tell you what it would have been.
Yeah, there's
No.
so many songs that you can pinpoint from Space. Space Jam had literally its own theme song.
Yes.
But Space Jam New Legacy.
Just a mix of like.
But that's where I'm wondering. I'm like, where is the legacy at this point?
It's LeBron James.
LeBron James. Okay.
LeBron James.
Let's review this bad boy. Go for it.
I didn't hate this movie. I didn't love this movie. It's not a perfect film. I still had a decent enough time watching it. 2.5.
Can I give it a like 2.3 out of 5 because of the number 23?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yes?
Requires
No?
us to have
Oh,
some
yeah.
math. But yeah.
No, I'm not gonna do that to
Just
Poppy.
put 23 on Poppy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna put I'm not.
Poppy in the-
I
in
was
the
like, I'm not
Jordan
gonna.
jersey.
I'm not gonna chop Poppy up that much. I feel like okay, so we saw this movie back when it came out, so much so that like I don't even remember what happened in this movie. Like, so we had to watch it again. Like, it was just like I don't even remember. Like, it wasn't memorable for me. I'm gonna give this one like a 2. Actually, I'm gonna give this one a 1.5
Okay.
because it's not memorable for me. It makes me yearn for the first one. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Just stick to basketball, LeBron.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like them forcing all the WB properties on me. It was. I remember watching it, and when the first time we watched it, when we walked away, it was kind of like that was a movie. And
They
then we
spent
watched
money
it
on
again,
that.
and we were like, it doesn't hit the same. Like, I can watch Space Jam tomorrow and be like, that shit still holds up somehow. I don't know why. It has heart. It has
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. So I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the same feeling, like you said, the Space Jam does. I love LeBron, but it missed the mark. It feels like a cheaper version of Ready Player One, in my
Yeah,
opinion. It
agreed.
feels like they're just a copy and paste with just a worse presentation. So I am at a 2 as well. I'm sorry, Pookie, but I'm at a 2. It's just not one of your highlights of your career. It's a pretty rough movie. The story was there. I feel like they kind of just bailed on
They
that.
were
Like
doing too much.
IPs, RIPs, blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm at a 2.5. No, 2. 2.5. 2. Yeah.
You're at a 2.
Yeah, I'm at a 2. I'm at a 2,
You're at a
and I'm
2.
comfortable saying that. I am. At
It's
a 2.
watchable, but not entertaining.
It's not entertaining. Like, I don't know why Notorious P.I.G. did pop me, but other than that, there's not enough in this movie for me to want to rewatch it. Space Jam, rewatchable. I could put it on whenever and just have a good time with it because it is what it is. And this one just completely jumped the boat and tried to be something that it didn't need to be. So, yeah. With that being said, everybody, thanks for watching. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think of Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Let us know who you think is the GOAT in basketball? We would love to hear your guys' opinion on that.
Ooh, we didn't even ask that question.
I know. Well,
You just have to let us know now.
yeah, let us
let
know
us know.
down
Let us
below,
know.
and we will bring it back up on the next episode of Podcast The Sequel.
Bye.
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 Thanks for listening. Until next time, the podcast, a show so sublime. Marissa, Mooney, Joseph, and Ryan signing off with glee. Join us next episode for more sequel revelry.